Hey there, smart garden community. Welcome back to the channel where we dig deep into the art and science of growing a garden that truly thrives. If you're watching this, you're probably wondering how to set your garden up for incredible success next spring without spending endless hours turning compost piles or breaking your back with heavy tilling. Well, you're in exactly the right place, because today we're diving into a revolutionary approach that's going to change the way you think about winter garden preparation forever. Let's be honest about something that frustrates gardeners everywhere. Traditional composting is a labor of love that doesn't always love you back. You spend months turning those piles, managing moisture levels, balancing greens and browns, and waiting for that perfect, crumbly texture. Then, spring arrives, and despite all your efforts, your soil still feels lackluster and your plants struggle to establish themselves. Meanwhile, bare garden beds sit exposed to harsh winter elements, losing precious nutrients to erosion and leaching. Beneficial soil organisms either migrate deeper or perish from lack of food and insulation. It's quite the challenge, isn't it? It's a cycle that leaves even experienced gardeners feeling defeated before the growing season even begins. But here's where October becomes your secret weapon. Isn't that exciting? This month represents a pivotal window when you can harness the natural rhythms of decay and regeneration to build soil that practically grows itself. Imagine that, soil that practically takes care of itself. The method I'm about to share with you eliminates the backbreaking work of traditional composting while delivering superior results. Instead of processing organic matter in a separate bin and then redistributing it, you're going to create a living laboratory right on top of your garden beds, letting billions of microscopic workers do the heavy lifting while you enjoy your winter. This groundbreaking approach is actually an elegant fusion of no-dig gardening principles and direct composting that transforms your garden beds into self-sustaining ecosystems. The concept is beautifully simple. Rather than leaving soil exposed and vulnerable during winter, you create a protective blanket of organic matter that simultaneously feeds, protects, and builds your soil structure. Think of it as tucking your garden in for a long winter's nap, but instead of just keeping it warm, you're actually giving it a nutritious meal that it digests slowly over the cold months. The magic happens through a process called in situ decomposition, where organic materials break down directly where they'll be used. As temperatures fluctuate through winter's freeze-thaw cycles, the physical action naturally aerates your soil without any digging required. Meanwhile, earthworms migrate upward to feast on the organic layer you've provided, creating intricate tunnel systems that improve drainage and root penetration. Simultaneously, fungi extend their high-fall networks through the decomposing matter, forming partnerships with your soil that will benefit plants for years to come. The bacterial populations explode in this rich environment, cycling nutrients into plant-available forms that will be ready and waiting when your first spring seeds germinate. What makes this method truly revolutionary is its simplicity. You'll need access to quality compost, aged manure, or leaf mold as your primary ingredient. Additionally, gather shredded autumn leaves, straw, or wood chips for a protective top layer. A garden rake and wheelbarrow complete your toolkit. That's it. No expensive amendments, no specialized equipment, and no chemistry degree required to balance ratios. The process begins immediately after your final harvest when your beds are cleared, but soil organisms are still active enough to begin processing what you provide. Start by removing any spent annual plants, pulling them completely if they showed signs of disease or pest damage throughout the season. These materials should go into your municipal green waste rather than staying in your garden where pathogens might overwinter. However, if your plants were healthy and productive, you can take a shortcut that adds valuable organic matter. Simply cut the foliage at ground level and leave the root systems intact. Those roots will decompose underground, creating channels for air and water while feeding soil microbes from within. Next comes the heart of this method, applying your organic matter layer. Spread a generous blanket of compost, well-rotted manure, or leaf mold across the entire surface of each bed, aiming for a depth between 2 and 4 inches. This thickness is crucial because it needs to be substantial enough to provide lasting nutrition and protection, but not so thick that it creates anaerobic conditions underneath. As you spread this material, resist the temptation to dig or incorporate it into the soil. The whole point is letting natural processes do that work for you. The earthworms and microorganisms will gradually pull this material downward, mixing it perfectly with your existing soil structure over the coming months. For gardeners in regions with harsh winters or those dealing with particularly exposed garden locations, adding a secondary mulch layer provides extra insurance. Shredded autumn leaves work beautifully here because they mat together slightly, resisting wind displacement while still allowing air and moisture to penetrate. Apply this second layer to a depth of 2 to 3 inches right on top of your compost layer. This creates an insulating blanket that moderates soil temperature fluctuations, preventing the destructive cycle of rapid freezing and thawing that can damage soil structure. It also gives weed seeds absolutely no chance of germinating, since you've blocked their access to sunlight completely. An alternative approach that appeals to many gardeners involves planting a cover crop instead of applying heavy mulch. Winter rye, crimson clover, or field beans can be sown directly into your prepared beds in October, where they'll germinate quickly and establish root systems before hard freezes arrive. These living plants protect your soil while actively photosynthesizing and pulling nitrogen from the atmosphere into their tissues. Come spring, you simply cut them down and let them decompose in place, providing an additional burst of nutrients exactly when your new plantings need them most. When spring finally arrives and you pull back any remaining mulch from beds prepared with this October method, you'll discover soil that feels completely transformed. Where you might have had compacted clay or loose sand last fall, you'll now find a crumbly, moisture-retentive medium that practically invites you to plant. The difference is immediately visible in early growth rates. Seeds germinate faster and more uniformly because the soil structure allows for perfect moisture retention and gas exchange around emerging roots. Transplants establish almost immediately with minimal transplant shock because the abundant organic matter holds moisture, while the improved structure ensures roots can penetrate easily in any direction. The benefits really extend far beyond those first few weeks of growth. Gardens prepared with this method consistently show reduced pest and disease pressure throughout the season because, well, healthy soil creates healthy plants with robust immune systems. The diverse microbial community you've cultivated includes beneficial organisms that actively suppress soil-borne pathogens and produce compounds that strengthen plant cell walls. You'll also notice that your watering requirements drop significantly, since the improved soil structure acts like a sponge, holding moisture during dry spells and draining freely during heavy rains. Perhaps the most dramatic benefit is the sheer reduction in spring workload. While other gardeners are out tilling, amending, and struggling to get their soil into plantable condition, your beds are already perfectly prepared and ready to receive seeds or transplants weeks earlier. This head start translates directly into earlier harvests and longer growing seasons, which is especially valuable for gardeners in shorter season climates. The true genius of October's secret soil method reveals itself over multiple seasons as you watch your garden transform from merely productive to genuinely thriving. Each year that you repeat this process, your soil becomes incrementally richer, deeper, and more biologically diverse. The organic matter you add doesn't just feed this season's plants, it builds lasting humus that improves soil structure for years to come. This creates a positive feedback loop where each season's growth is stronger than the last, and problems like compaction, poor drainage, or nutrient deficiencies simply fade away. This method adapts beautifully to different garden situations with minor modifications. Raised bed gardeners can use slightly thinner layers since their soil typically drains faster and has less contact with native soil organisms. In-ground gardeners with heavy clay might want to emphasize coarser materials like straw in their mulch layer to prevent matting. Those in mild winter climates where soil organisms remain active year-round can continue light applications every few months rather than one heavy fall application. The journey to masterful soil building doesn't end here. Share your results with our community, ask questions, and learn from fellow gardeners who are discovering just how transformative this approach can be. If this method resonates with you and you're ready to revolutionize your garden, make sure to subscribe to Smart Garden and hit that notification bell so you never miss our practical science-backed growing advice. Share this video with any gardening friends who deserve to know there's a better way to prepare for spring. Together we're building not just better gardens, but a community of growers who understand that healthy soil is the foundation of everything we do. Now get out there and give your garden the winter gift that keeps on giving.